Hello, and welcome to the Resource Nexus podcast. As of April 10th, just over 350 of the 2,000 plus players in the transfer portal have officially committed to new schools. Now, that's only a fraction of the total pool, but the quality of players already off the board, kind of jaw-dropping. Of the top 225 transfers in our statistical rankings, based purely on adjusted efficiency, or ADJEF, 103 are already spoken for, including 23 of the top 26 overall. Translation? A lot of the top-tier talent is already gone. This early flurry has dramatically shifted the portal landscape. Right now, there just aren't that many high-level difference makers left. Unless, of course, we get a surprise wave of late entries. And by late entries, I mean players we all thought were staying put, but suddenly decide to test the waters. If that doesn't happen, it's going to be tough for most programs to match the classes that the early movers have already locked in some of these top-tier players unless they go big on volume, like really big, which these rankings partially reward. We've also got some funky cases in this mix, like Flory Badunga. He briefly entered the portal before deciding to return to Kansas, but things got dicey enough that, we're counting him here since Kansas pulled him out of the portal. That's like a big get in the re-recruitment. With a lot of schools already stacking multiple players from our top 225, now feels like the perfect time to assess who's actually winning the portal game so far. These rankings are all based on the average ADJEF rating of each school's incoming transfers and weighted for volume. No bias, no fluff, just straight stats first analysis. All right, let's break down the top 30 transfer classes to date. First, Michigan. Let's start with Michigan. First up, we have Morez Johnson, ranked 9th with a 4.5 rating. Now, this might be the biggest playing time issue of the year. Johnson played like a 5.5 player per possession, but was only getting 17 minutes a game. Why would you stick around if your coach is giving 25 minutes a game to Ben Humrichus, a guy with an 11 PER, while you're stuck as the 7th man? With a new coach, though, if they commit to Johnson, he could really explode in a bigger role. Keep an eye on him. Next, we have Yaxel Lendeborg, ranked 15th with a 4.1 rating. What Michigan is doing here is interesting. I guess Yaxel and Morez will play together. But if you're running the offense through Yaxel, it seems like a weird fit to me. People are kind of overrating Yaxel. He played a weak schedule and was on some disappointing teams. He should have been dominant in the AAC with that schedule. Finally, Elliot Cadeau, ranked 65th with a 3.1 rating, comes in from UNC. I've always felt he was overrated, but this year he's a decent value. There are still concerns about his size and shooting, but at the very least, UNC should improve at this position. 2, Miami. Now on to Miami, starting with Malik Renault, ranked 7th with a 4.5 rating. He's got the pedigree and has been a top performer at Indiana, averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists with a 25 PER in the Big Ten over the last 2 seasons. He's earned his spot in the top tier. He and Freeman are projected as top 30 overall players, and it's all about how things are shaping up with what's graduating. Renault will be one of the most sought-after players, for sure. Next, we have Ernest Udeh, ranked 14th with a 4.2 rating. Udeh's defensive presence is huge. He anchors their defense, which ranks 34th, almost single-handedly, with a 64% true shooting percentage. He's not a scrub. People forget that Udeh was a top 30 recruit out of high school, but we'll see how he adjusts to the next level. Third, Creighton. Moving on to Creighton. Let's start with Owen Freeman, ranked 6th with a 4.6 rating. No surprises here. He's at the top of the list, and I think in a different system, he could shine even more. He's posted an elite block rate over the last 2 seasons, but some still question his defense. I'd argue that the issue hasn't been Freeman. It's been Iowa's system, which has never really valued defense. Freeman consistently had the highest defensive ratings on his team, and he's been the saving grace on that side of the ball. I think he'll thrive at Creighton, especially in their drop coverage system, just like Ryan Kalkbrenner did. On offense, What Freeman can do is unquestionable. Next we have Josh Dix, ranked 25th with a 3.7 rating, also coming from Iowa. Dix is another strong piece from Iowa's roster. His main value comes from elite three-point shooting. He's making 2 threes a game at over 42%, with averages of 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. That kind of shooting translates anywhere. Going to Creighton alongside Freeman should make for great chemistry and continuity. 4. Louisville. Let's move on to Louisville. First, we've got Ryan Conwell, ranked 26th with a 3.7 rating. Formerly from Xavier, Conwell is putting up 16 points per game and shooting 41% from 3. He's got solid size at 6 feet 4 inches, and this guy fits in on a lot of teams. A versatile player, Conwell's got a lot to offer. Next we have Adrian Woolley, ranked 39th with a 3.5 rating. Woolley comes from Kennesaw State, where he averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Those are pretty solid numbers in a conference that doesn't get enough love. He's shooting 42% from 3-on-2 attempts a game. He'd help any team in the country. Finally, Isaac McNeely from Virginia, ranked 72nd with a 2.9 rating. McNeely might be a bit overrated in some circles. He's more of a role player than a first option, but he could fit in perfectly on plenty of teams, especially in the right role. Now, on to Kansas. First up, Flory Badunga, ranked 10th with a 4.3 rating. Flory's got an elite defensive rating, and he's ready to step into a much bigger role next season. His potential on that side of the ball is undeniable. Next, Trey White, ranked 18th with a 3.9 rating, comes from Illinois. White only played 23 minutes a game last season, and honestly, you can't keep players like him happy with limited minutes. He's always had the pedigree, and now he's finding success on a winning team. His percentages have improved drastically. He posted a .62% true shooting against the 4th best defensive SOS in the nation. That's impressive. 6 Maryland. Moving to Maryland, we've got Farrell Payne, ranked 2nd with a 4.9 rating. This is a joke. Payne is somehow still not in the top 50 or 60 on major sites like ESPN or CBS. He's a statistical monster, especially against a top 10 strength of schedule. I really hope he lands with a coach who'll give him 30 minutes a game because he's the real deal. Next is Miles Rice, ranked 76 with a 2.9 rating. Rice, after leaving Indiana, took that system haircut we talked about earlier. Everyone looks worse in that system with no shooting or space, but he was better at Washington State last season with a 3.3 rating. I think splitting the difference brings us right to where he should be, about a 2.9. Let's talk Kentucky. Jaden Quaintance, ranked 16th with a 4.0 rating, is a huge stock guy. Really young, but he had ACL surgery in March, and don't expect much from him next season. Those types of injuries usually take about a year and a half to fully recover from. Next, Jalen Lowe, ranked 46th with a 3.4 rating. Lowe's talented, but at 6 feet 2 inches and shooting just 26% from 3 in the SEC. This one's a bit of a head-scratcher, especially considering how much Mark Pope values the three-pointer in his system. On to Tennessee. First up, Jacoby Gillespie, ranked 4th with a 4.6 rating. Huge pickup for Tennessee. Gillespie is a definite upgrade over Ziegler. He has the size and skill to do everything you want from a guard. Expect him to make an impact. Next, Jalen Carey, ranked 91st with a 2.8 rating. He doesn't seem like a typical Tennessee-level defensive big, but he's definitely got some talent. 9, Texas. Now let's talk about Texas. Daleen Swain, ranked 20th with a 3.9 rating, comes from Xavier. Swain's not flashy statistically, but he's a very steady player who gets the job done against elite competition. He doesn't hit threes, which makes him a bit of a weird fit, but he has a .607 true shooting percentage. Scoring efficiently isn't a problem for him, and he also rebounds and dishes assists pretty well. Finally, Matas Vokiatitis, ranked 94th with a 2.8 rating, and Camden Haida, ranked 147th with a 2.4 rating. Let's finish with Georgetown. First up, KJ Lewis, ranked 19th with a 3.9 rating. This guy might have a bit of a temper, but he's got the talent to back it up. Keep an eye on him. Next, Langston Love, ranked 88th with a 2.8 rating. He's a solid pickup, but I'd love to see more consistency from him. Lastly, Duncan Powell, ranked 158th with a 2.3 rating. What a haircut, right? This guy's got style, but let's see if his game can match it. Let's dive into Indiana. First up, Tucker DeVries, ranked 41st with a 3.5 rating. Son of the coach, this is probably one of the big reasons he's helping his dad make the jump to the P5. That said, he's a bit overrated by the masses. Don't get fooled by the name alone. There's more to his game than just the family ties. Next, Reed Bailey, ranked 52nd with a 3.3 rating. Bailey's a 6'11 player who can do a bit of everything, 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 42% from 3. The volume isn't huge, but it's enough to keep defenses honest. He's definitely a guy with no shortage of suitors. Finally, Connor Enright, ranked 216th with a 1.8 rating. Enright's familiar with DeVries and Tucker from their Drake days, but Enright ranks closer to the 600th best player overall. If he's starting and logging 30 minutes a game, this could be a weak spot for the team, something to keep an eye on. Now on to LSU. First up, Michael Nwoko, ranked 44th with a 3.5 rating. Nwoko was a starter, but only played 15 minutes a game. That's just bizarre to me. If you're good enough to start, you should be playing more than 15 minutes. Makes you wonder what Jans was doing. That's why he's in the portal, and now he'll be looking for a fresh start. Next, Deaton Thomas, ranked 85th with a 2.8 rating. His numbers look solid, but when you realize he's playing nearly the entire game, you notice the lack of rebounding and minimal three-point volume. Those numbers start to lose some of their luster. Lastly, Marquel Sutton, ranked 160th with a 2.2 rating. Sutton's a bit under the radar, but his performance has been pretty average. Not much to get excited about. 13th, North Carolina. Let's talk about North Carolina. Henry Visar, ranked 8th with a 4.5 rating, is a fantastic get for UNC. I hope Lubin transfers somewhere where he's guaranteed 30 minutes a game, though. I'm not sure how the fit will work with both Visar and Lubin, as they both need a lot of floor time. But overall, it's a great pickup for UNC. Then Jonathan Powell, ranked 150th with a 2.3 rating. Not much to say here. He's definitely a solid piece, but I'd keep my eyes on other impact players in the class. 14th, UCLA. Now on to UCLA. Big news here. Donovan Dent, ranked 11th with a 4.2 rating, comes from New Mexico. This guy is an absolute stud, averaging 20 points and 6 assists for a top 40 NCAA tournament team in the MWC. He's got to be elite to post those kinds of numbers. No question. He's going to be one of the best guards in the game. Huge pickup from 15, Oklahoma. Let's move to Oklahoma. First up, Tay Davis, ranked 51st with a 3.4 rating. Davis is making waves coming from Notre Dame. Honestly, who can blame him? If I were him, I'd get away from Notre Dame too. Next, Nigel Pack, ranked 70th with a 3.0 rating. A solid player, but not quite hitting the high impact level that some of the others have shown. Now for St. John's. First up, Bryce Hopkins, ranked 34th with a 3.6 rating. These were his numbers before that ACL injury, so the hope here is that he can return to that form. But let's be real, I wouldn't count on it right away. He's got talent, but recovery from that injury is key. Next, Josen Sannon, ranked 83rd with a 2.8 rating. Sannon came in as a highly touted freshman at Arizona State, started off strong, but cooled down as the season went on. Now he's committed to St. John's, bringing with him some solid shooting, 37% from beyond the arc. He's averaged about 12 points per game, but that's pretty much the extent of his resume so far. Still don't completely rule him out as a potential breakout player. Moving on to Baylor, Obi Agbim, ranked 57th, rating 3.2. Agbim comes over from Wyoming, where he's been a stud, averaging 17 points, 3 assists, and hitting almost 3 threes a game at 44%. Baylor is a winning program, so this is a massive pickup for them. Then we have Michael Rataj, ranked 62nd with a rating of 3.1. Rataj played well at Oregon State, and now he's on his way back to the power conferences. I expect big things from him at Baylor, Missouri. Next, Sebastian Mack, ranked 60th with a rating of 3.2, and Jevon Porter, ranked 196th with a rating of 1.9. Missouri's adding some solid depth here. Let's see how these two develop. 19th Iowa, now to Iowa, starting with Bennett Sturts, ranked 24th with a rating of 3.7. Sturts, a transfer from Drake, is already committed to Iowa, and he's one of the more intriguing prospects here. Transitioning from D2 to the MVC and now up to the Big Ten, the question is, how will he adapt? A month ago, his numbers were looking rough, but that was because Drake was playing a pretty weak schedule. Once the competition picked up, his numbers followed suit, and his PER dropped from 30 to a solid 27. What's really impressive is that the guy plays 39-plus minutes per game, just a workhorse. My model suggests he's a steady top 80 to 100 player, as not a superstar, but a really solid contributor. Next up, Cam Manyawu, ranked 138th, with a rating of 2.4. He's a highly productive big. Probably should have been getting more minutes last season. That likely stays true even as he steps up to a higher level. 20, Virginia. Now for Virginia. Nick Boyd, ranked 48th with a rating of 3.4. He's a solid pickup. Then we have Sam Lewis, ranked 212th with a rating of 1.8. And Jakari White, ranked 195th with a rating of 1.9. Not a lot of standout numbers here, but Virginia's always able to develop players. TCU. Brock Harding, ranked 67th with a rating of 3.1. Harding, coming from Iowa, was another key piece for the Hawkeyes last season, contributing 9 points, 5 assists, and shooting 40% from 3. He's definitely an undervalued asset. Even my model is a little low on him. The big question for Harding, though, is defense. We'll see how he adapts at TCU. Jaden Pierre, ranked 109th with a rating of 2.6, adds some more depth to this TCU squad. 22nd Washington, and we have Washington starting with Lathan Somerville, ranked 80th with a rating of 2.9. Then Jacob Ognasevich, ranked 148th with a rating of 2.3. And Kimari Peterson, ranked 206th with a rating of 2.3, 1.8. Washington is stacking up talent, but it'll take time to see how these guys fit into the rotation. 23rd Ohio State. Now, let's talk about Ohio State. Starting with Christoph Tilley, ranked 49th with a rating of 3.4. Tilley's a true 7-footer who put up 13 points in just 20 minutes a game last season against a stronger schedule than most people realize. He's incredibly efficient with a true shooting percentage of .63. He can shoot a few threes at 31%, but his real value comes from his overall scoring and efficiency. The rebounding and block numbers could be better, but he's got nearly a plus 20 net rating, a solid addition to Ohio State. Next up, Brandon Knoll, ranked 162nd with a rating of 2.2. More of a depth piece, but still someone to keep an eye on. 24th Wisconsin. Now for Wisconsin, Andrew Rode, ranked 123rd with a rating of 2.5, and Austin Rapp, ranked 176th with a rating of 2.1. Not the flashiest pickups, but they should contribute to the program. 25th Syracuse. Let's move on to Syracuse, starting with Nate Kings, ranked 113th with a rating of 2.6, and Nathan George, ranked 143rd with a rating of 2.4. Now, here's the thing with George. Georgia Tech's schedule was brutal, so if you're still defending those rankings, well, good luck. George shot .503% from the field, and he's top 15 to 30 on pretty much every national ranking. So I've got to ask, what rankings are you actually trusting? People just seem to follow the crowd, and it's honestly frustrating. 26th Alabama, now for Alabama. First up, Taylor Bull Bowen, ranked 107th with a rating of 2.7, and Jalil Bethia, ranked 178th with a rating of 2.1. Neither of these guys are the biggest names in the class, but Alabama's a program that knows how to develop talent. 27th, South Carolina. On to South Carolina, Meechie Johnson, ranked 74th with a rating of 2.9, a solid piece for the Gamecocks, and Trayson Eaglestaff, ranked 199th with a rating of 1.9. Johnson's the key here, but Eaglestaff could add some depth. 28th, Southern Cal. Moving to Southern Cal, Jacob Kofi, ranked 98th with a rating of 2.8. He's a solid get for them, and Keontae Jones, ranked 200th with a rating of 1.9, a developmental piece for the future. 29th, South Florida. Let's talk about South Florida. Isaiah Nelson, ranked 131st with a rating of 2.5, and Joseph Pinion, ranked 180th with a rating of 2.0. Two good pickups for the program, especially since they're bringing some continuity from Arkansas State. This is a great start for Hodgerson, as the chemistry and familiarity they bring will pay off in the long run. And finally, Xavier Allwright, ranked 172nd with a rating of 2.1, and Philip Borvakanen, ranked 205th with a rating of 1.9. These are more depth pieces, but Xavier's done well with under-the-radar guys before. Alright, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you got some good insights. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who'd find it useful. And don't forget to check out theresourcenexus.com for more in-depth analysis. Until next time, check you later.
Cool. Guess we'll see you around.
All right, check you later.
Bye.
Wait, man, why are you always such a dork, man?
What are you talking
Check you
about?
later. Check you later.